Welcome back everyone to this week's video. It's Louise here from Busy Mum Homestead, and thank you so much for coming back. This week we're going to be doing quite a few things, but the first thing I'm going to be starting with is making some yogurt. Now, we've all seen all the videos online and making them in our slow cooker, but I've been doing it for about 5 years now. And it's a great way to save some money, especially when I buy powdered milk and I make it up, and it just works out so much cheaper than going through and buying the 2-litre jars of yogurt. At the moment, we are going through quite a lot of yogurt, and I haven't actually made yogurt for over a year. I've just been lazy and I've been buying it, and I don't know why. So because we're going through so much, I decided to get back into it and really try and make it again from home. And I wanted to bring you along and show you just how easy it is. Okay, so here we've got my 6-litre slow cooker, and I'm going to make all of it into yogurt. Now as I said, I'm making powdered milk, so I need to make it up. This is all filtered water, so it should be really good. Okay, so here I've got a jar with some powdered milk. Now to make it up, I believe from memory, which I hope I'm correct, it's about 1 1/3 cup of powdered milk to a litre. So I'm going to need, what's 6 times a third, Lokes?
What? 6 surely?
6/3. What is 6/3?
2 holes? 2 holes.
2 holes?
Yeah.
So I'm going to need 8 cups of powdered milk.
God
Actually,
damn!
it's quite a lot. And I don't think I've been making this correctly, to be honest, because I think I've been making way less than I needed, which I'm just realising. So that's about 4 cups there. So I'm going to need 2 of these then.
God damn! Will you have enough?
I've got another jar
Okay.
in the cupboard. I'll just grab my trusty whisk. Oops, I rinsed it, so that was what all the water was. And I'll just give this a bit of a whisk at the moment. Now, a big pack of powdered milk, it says it makes up to 7 litres. So that's usually around $10 to $14, depending on which one you buy. So even at $14 for one lot of yogurt, that's a lot cheaper than what I've been buying, which is about the same cost, but only 2 litres. So I'm getting triple the amount for the same cost. Okay, so I've just stirred that in. That's half. We've got half here.
Yep.
So we're going to go for our second lot of 4 cups. Now, these have just been vacuum sealed with a little vacuum sealer that goes onto attachment that I bought, that goes onto this, and it seals it. So that's a great way to store powdered milk. That one wasn't really sealed properly, but it smells fine.
Good old smell test.
Yeah. Okay, so that's another 4 cups. Now I'm just going to add another cup for good measure, because I found that sometimes this can be a bit runny. So an extra cup. Let's just put the rest of that in, just for good measure. So that's another 2 cups. So altogether I've put 10 cups in my 6-litre slow cooker, and I probably put way too much liquid in here.
Actually, I remember back in like 2022 when you made like your first batch, one of your first batches, and it was a bit runny. And I put it in one of those Chinese containers and just put it in my bag, but the container was a bit broken. So I had yogurt all through my bag.
Yeah, that's no good.
Just thought of it.
So what we often do is use this yogurt and this has got no sugar, nothing like that, no flavouring. And a way that we often use this is by putting frozen blueberries on top, and that adds the sweetness and the fruit, and it's a delicious and healthy way to flavour your yogurt. And I often, the kids and I would take that in our lunches to school, and because the blueberries are frozen, they'd kind of freeze a little bit the yogurt around them as well. This is getting hard to stir.
Wouldn't think milk powder and water would be, but
I hope I'm doing this right. It's been so long since I made it. I forget. When something just becomes so natural and you make it so often and then you don't make it for a long time, it became automatic and you knew what you were doing, and then you take a break and then you kind of forget.
yeah.
Well, this should be lovely and thick yogurt.
Hopefully there's no more yogurt through my bag.
Yeah, we find this doesn't need any sweetening, but we're used to that, and it does give a lovely Greek yogurt. Now, this used to do us a fortnight. Hopefully it still does.
Oh, it should do. I don't think I'll go through that much.
Famous last words, Louise.
Well,
You're a growing teenage boy.
That's fair, but it takes me a few days to get through the normal 2-litre Greek yogurt.
Yeah.
But
All right, so we just pop the lid on. I'll pop that on low for 2 hours now, and I'll set a timer for 2 hours and come back. So there's not a lot going on in my garden, so I haven't really been showing you much about it, but I did notice the other day that one of my garlic cloves I harvested from last year had sprouted, so I'm just going to plant it today, one lone garlic clove. But as you know, I didn't want to plant a lot over winter this year because I'm carnivore, so I'm not really eating a lot of veggies, and I don't want to say it too loud because I'm outside, in case my neighbours know my landlord, but yeah, we're hoping to move later this year, so I didn't want to have a lot in my garden. But anyway, let's have a look at this garlic clove. So yeah, I noticed in my laundry where I was keeping them from last year, it's not a massive one, it's only really small, but you know what, it's trying to grow, so let's plant it. Yeah, I had a few garlic cloves still sitting there. The rest look good. I thought this one had sprouted, and I thought then the rest would have sprouted, but they haven't, so I just took off this one, and I should preserve the others that are there. So let's just plant this one lone garlic clove and get one head of garlic at the end of the season. So I'm just going to plant it in this pot. Let's see how we go. Move that rock. I'll put that there. Let's dig a hole. And I'll place that down there like that. And we'll cover that up. Now this pot's not a bad one. It gets a lot of sun in winter, so it's quite good. I'll give that a bit of a water in a minute, but I might just take you and show you some other things in my garden that I like. Now I know some people like to soak their garlic cloves, and I was going to try that this year. I haven't tried that before, but I just thought today, I know it's going to rain tomorrow, so I'll just get it planted. Let me know if you've ever soaked the garlic cloves, and does that seem to work better for you? So this is my little lemon tree in a pot that I got about a year ago, or maybe nearly 2 years ago now. Probably needs some fertilizer and a bit more of the covering over the roots there and those weeds pulled, but it's not doing too badly. There is a spider on the other side of that leaf, so I'm a bit hesitant to look around there. Yeah, so it's not doing too bad. This is my avocado. It's seen better years. Every winter I say I'm going to repot it. I just never get there, but I grew that from seed, and it's about 8 years old. There's something been nibbling on the leaves actually. if you look at that, it's all been eaten away. So I'm not sure what's eating that, whether that's the wallaby that comes into our yard, most likely. I'd say that's what it is, or a possum, one of the two. Because they're definitely been eaten, the leaves. I'd say it's the wallaby. There's quite a bit of wallaby poo in our backyard. So, yeah. And there's one that kind of lives here, so I'd say it's that one. This is my little cabbage that I actually planted last year, and there is a lot of something in there. I don't know what's in there actually, but there's eggs of some sort. It's been eaten, so I don't think I'll get anything off that one, but I'm not really too worried, to be honest, this year. This is my strawberry plant. It actually did really well this year. We got about 4 or 5 or 6 little berries off this one, and they were very tasty. It was the second year in the pot, so it's definitely put out runners. I've tried to grow those too, and I need to cut that off and just plant it. But yeah, I was surprised it did quite well this year, and they were delicious, those little strawberries. But yeah, not thriving. I came out here earlier and I told Logan that our seeds that we planted are growing. So you would have watched that video last week, but we actually planted these 2 weeks ago. So they are doing really well and come up, which is very exciting. There's even 1 and 2 sort of coming up in this pot, which I planted leftovers to see if I could get them to trail underneath. I need to clean out this mint. It's just gone bananas here. I really need to get into that. And there's even a few here starting to grow. The tomato plants are still hanging on, and I think that's because of the red brick wall behind them, and this faces north. So a lot of sun and a lot of heat in this area. The only trouble with this sort of area where we are is that the wind comes up the side. We're at the side of the house, and the road, if you can hear that, it's very noisy, is right out front of my house. So there's a lot of wind and that comes up here. So it is a high wind area, but it's all concrete and brick, as you can see, and it provides a nice growing space. The only trouble is in summer they do dry out way too quick, and our water's a bit acid, so they don't thrive, and trying to keep up hand watering just doesn't work too well, but we try our best. Anyway, there's some more peas coming up in that one, which is exciting. Or beans. I can't remember what we planted where. And the basil is still also holding on, so it just goes to show you there's a basil in that one flowering. And the tomato, that's a cherry tomato, but it never did well this year. Nothing's done really well here. But anyway, this pot has a lot of seed. I don't know how many Logan planted together. I think he just threw them in this lot. But anyway, they're all coming up, which is kind of exciting. And same with this one. It's another tomato, and they're all coming up too. So, and other seeds. I'm not sure what other seeds are in there, but we'll soon find out, I guess. But what I wanted to take you and show you is this. My beautiful chrysanthemum that I bought for myself last year after Mother's Day. It's just stunning, and it was out a little bit last weekend, so, but it's come out even more this week. It's just beautiful. Sorry, I'm just climbing over here, but look at this. It's just stunning. I just really love the colour of it. I think it's just beautiful, the pink and the dark pink together. And then as it fades, it goes to a really light, beautiful pink. So this is outside my lounge room window, so I get to look at that, which is very lovely, I have to say. And then, yeah, some more peas are coming up in there. my poor rose is in a sad state. I really need to give it some TLC. I only got it nearly 2 years ago now, and yeah, it gave me some beautiful blooms this time last year, but unfortunately in the pot here it hasn't done well. These are dying. I need to cut them off, and it's just got one. Hopefully it'll regrow out of those two down the bottom, but I really need to give it some love. These are my peonies, and they've died off for the winter, and hopefully they'll come back next spring. Ideally, I know they're not supposed to be in pots, but as I mentioned when I planted them, I don't know if you've seen that video, or even if I posted it, but I did a video and I said that I know they're not meant to be in the pots, but until I get my own place, they kind of have to be, unfortunately, and I just love them too much. So and a lady was selling them. She has a farm here and she was selling some off, so of course I bought some. And then over here I need to repot these as well. So this time last year I ordered this many cuttings of Sasenqua camellia, because it's the tea camellia that you make tea leaves from. So I'm sure I've got the variety correct. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's right. This obviously needs repotting. So I've only got 3 surviving camellias left out of I think 14. So they get very hot and dry in those little pots, but they were cuttings this time last year. So I didn't intend for them to stay in these pots over summer, but unfortunately life got busy and they did. And I've lost quite a few of them, but I've still got 3. So I really need to take care of these 3 and repot them up. Ready for my move. The advantage though, if I do move to where I want to, they enjoy that climate much more. So I should be able to grow them up and get even more cuttings off these plants anyway. So as long as I get a couple surviving, I'll be happy with that. So yeah, my garden's in a sorry state this year. As I mentioned in my last video, I might have cut that out, I'm not sure, but I completely destroyed my rotator cuff in January, and so as I was recovering I couldn't do very much at all, especially I couldn't use this whole arm and shoulder really, and even still my strength in it is not the best. I'm still trying to work on movement and not strength yet, but we'll get there. So I don't have full range of movement back, but I am improving every single week. So because of that, I didn't get into watering the plants that I did have this year and really looking after them, like fertilizing and watering. Like I said, well, I didn't say, I think I've mentioned in a previous video that I've posted a long time ago, the water pressure here is atrocious. It just dribbles out of the tap outside, and so you can't hand water with a hose, anything. And the water where I live, in the suburb that I live, is slightly acid. So for fish and that and fish tanks, it does really badly. So the plants don't thrive either because it's acidy water. But it dribbles out. So I can't actually use the hose to water everything either. So you have to literally get watering cans and carry them back and forward. And I did that a year ago, and I had all the pots out there, and I was really determined to get as much produce as I could done in the pots so that I could can them. But it took me over like an hour and a half every single day just to water once them. So it took a lot of effort, and this year I was anticipating moving. So one, I didn't want a lot of produce because I didn't want to can a lot to take up, and 2, yeah, I was busy, and then 3, I hurt myself. So the garden this year has not really happened. So yeah, unfortunately for those reasons, my garden didn't happen this season very well, and I'm hoping to if we stay here to next year, really get into boosting up the soil, adding a lot of compost to the pots, and really trying to get on top of the watering even more than what I have been doing. That's if we stay. So if not, hopefully we get to move to a house that I can have a little bit of a garden and grow some more things there. So I mean, ideally, my dream is to have my own property, and whether that be a suburban block or an actual property, which I've always wanted, that would be the dream, to do all of this. And that's what homesteading's about, right? But unfortunately, in this economic climate, we have to take what we can get financially, and I don't own a house, so I only rent. So I am limited as to what I can do as well, which is, you know, something I'm working towards is having my own place again. That is been my drive for the last 10 or more years. You know, well, I've separated since 14 years ago. So that's been my drive to get back into my own place ever since. And it just hasn't worked out. The banks wouldn't let me initially, and now the prices have gone so high that I don't know if I'll ever get into my own house again. And people talk about the younger generation getting priced out, and absolutely they are. But there's also some of us that have, you know, for life's different circumstances and reasons, have been pushed out of the market and can't get back in either. So anyway, my goal is when we move, sorry, the sun is really in the road there, is to really hopefully have my own garden again, whatever that looks like. And you know, if you're someone like me who rents, then hopefully I can give you some inspiration that we don't need to live on 20 acres to have the life that we desire. We can be self-sufficient and sustaining on an apartment level block. We just need to have some skills and some tricks up our sleeves, and it might not be on the scale as some of the larger places, but you can still provide meaningful relief and support to your budget through having whatever you can grow in your garden. So whatever that looks like. So hopefully I can give you that inspiration and that solidarity that, you know, some of us dream big and have these visions, and we just have to take it each day and do the best that we can with what we have. And yeah, so I'll leave that there for now, and we'll get back to the rest of the video. Part of being a single mum for so many years is that I haven't had a lot of money, and so when things have broken, I've had to replace it, and I've had to learn how to replace things. And some of that is also good for the environment, like reducing what we need to buy all the time and things like that. It just makes financial sense too. When that things break, we fix them. One of the things that I learned how to fix some years ago was how to mend clothes. So I'm going to take you through that right now with a shirt that my son needs fixing. I bought him a pair of really nice pajamas last year, an expensive type. They were from Harris Scarf, and they were like a good brand. But he's ripped all the buttons off and made big holes. So I don't know that I'm going to fix it technically correctly, but I'm going to fix it so that it's fixed. So I'm going to take you along so that he can keep wearing his shirt, and I will show you what I'm going to do. Okay, so this is his pajama top. I've got it on the back of a chair here, so it's a little bit awkward, but you get the gist, right? A flannelette pair of pajamas that are meant to be a good brand. And as you can see, that button's fine, but he's ripped and put holes. There's actually a button still attached, but he's ripped all of that. And down there, I think, oh no, there's still a button as well, but it's all ripped and gone within. And these buttons, there's one missing there and a hole and missing there. So these pajamas are good. Like, they've got the flap on the back, which is meant to strengthen the buttonhole. Excuse my cat. He always seems to come at me when I'm videoing. So yeah, that is actually attached, and it's meant to strengthen it so that it doesn't do this. However, it's completely ripped. So I mended a pair of shorts like I'm going to do here quite a long time ago. I'll go get them and I'll show you what happened. So these are my very favourite pair of shorts. Now these shorts have lasted me 15 years. Can you believe it? Something like that. It's crazy. They have gone through many size changes with me. So I bought them when they fitted me a long time ago, and then I've put on quite a significant amount of weight since I purchased them, but they still fitted. They just, you know, sat differently, I guess. They are starting to fray there, and this elastic is finally going, which I could actually replace. I probably should just cut a pattern from these because I really love them. They are so comfortable, and they've been one of the best pairs of shorts I've ever had. Anyway, quite a few years ago, I remember when it was because I remember what I was doing, but it was 2014. I ripped them. We were moving house, and I jumped down from the back of the truck and I caught, shush Smokey, I caught them on a piece of metal, and I ripped them much the same way as this shirt's ripped, as you can see, in an L shape. So it is wearing loose now because I've had these. It was 2014 when I repaired this, so it's now 2026. So the thread is starting to fray a bit, but it's still held up. It's not like, you can tell when you wear them that there's something there, but I don't care. I still wear them. And so what I did, I should have cut this, but I never did. And this is how I fixed it. So this is what we're going to do today to Logan's top. And the idea is when you could also just do fabric, I'm pretty sure, and do the same technique. But what you do is you place it on the hole, and then you literally go back and forward over it with the sewing machine, and it makes it almost invisible. I mean, that's not invisible, but I didn't mind so much with this, but also for his pajamas, it's not going to matter. No one's going to see them, but it's going to mean that he can wear them every night, and he loves these pajamas. So, you know, he can get wear out of them, because really, what else would we do? So it's a way of fixing them. There's nothing else wrong with them. They're only like a year old. They should not have ripped. And they're in perfectly good order everywhere else. So mending this is just going to make it so that he can wear them and get a lot longer out of them, which is the goal, right? So I guess you could do this if you didn't have a sewing machine. It would just take a lot of little stitches back and forth. You could either use the mending tape, or you could use another piece of fabric and just go back and forth, back and forth. It would take you a lot longer. It's a lot quicker on a sewing machine. But if you don't have one, it is possible. Now, I'm sure there's many other different mending techniques that you could use, but this is the one that I discovered quite a few years ago, and it's held up for quite a long time. So I'm sure this will be fine for him to continue wearing, and it will work just fine. So let's get to it. Okay, so let's see how I go filming this one-handed. But what I'm about to do is just cut off these buttons so that I can add everything underneath and also repair underneath. I don't think I'm going to be able to do it. Okay, I've got that set up on a little holder, so hopefully you can see what I'm about to do. So I'm just going to cut off that button. And we can definitely sew these back on at the end. And definitely hold on to those buttons. I need to find a couple more, but just cut them off. That's 3. Was that all there was? So that's all cut off now. We've actually lost a button, but there is a button attached to the label. I love when people do that, when businesses do that. So I'm just going to cut that off because I'll keep that for later. So we've got 4. I think we need 5. But anyway, sometimes there's a button up the top here on the collar that you don't use, and you can cut that one off to use for one down underneath if you need it, but unfortunately there's not one up there. I'll just have to go and find a different button to make sure we've got the 5. But as you can see, that's quite a big hole there. You can see my finger through it. So let's get this repaired. I'm going to put these on the windowsill, so hopefully I don't lose them. Right, I've got the iron on, and what I'm going to do is, I'm not sure if you can see it with that one there. I might just bring you up to show you. I think that's going to be easier. So what I've got the iron on, and what I'm going to do is I'm just laying this out flat, and then I'll cut up a piece. This is, you can buy this at Woolies and Coles, or you used to be able to, in the sewing section that they have, and it's just called an iron-on mender, and it usually comes folded in a small rectangle. And I got black at the time, but I think you can also buy like white ones. And all you need to do is just cut it off, and there's a fabric side and a sticky side, and the sticky side you put onto the fabric. So sticky side down, and that's literally all you need to do is just iron it on, and then we'll sew it. Okay, so I've managed to put you on a little container. So I'm just going to lay this out flat. I might even give it an iron just to sort of get all the fibers down and sort of sit in. Oops, that's sticking. Don't iron that onto the iron. Oh dear, sorry about that. And try not to drop your phone. So what I'm trying to do is just lay the fabric together and iron down the bits so that it kind of goes together how it's meant to, with the hole still there, but kind of join the pieces together if you can with the iron a little bit, because that will just make your mending neater. You won't have as much see-throughness. So I'll just bring you up and show you. So here, for example, it was apart, and I've just folded it together, then ironed it. So now there will hopefully just be a line when I do this, not a big gap, if that makes sense. This one, unfortunately, wouldn't iron together very well, but that's okay. You just want to try and get it as close as you can, just to make it neater. And so then all I'm going to do is just cut out a piece of this that's going to fit over the hole. And you can see I've already cut out a little bit in the corner there once before. So I'm just going to hold it over that and sort of get a rough idea of how big I need to cut it. And then I'm literally just going to place that over the hole, and I'm just going to give that an iron. And all it does is kind of stick it down to the surface of your fabric. And it's just going to create something for your stitches to go through, basically, is all we're doing. Just cut that little square off. And you just want to cover the entire hole and make sure that's covered. Anywhere there is a hole, we're just going to cover it. So this little tiny bit, you wouldn't think do much, but that's actually enough to cover up one of the holes and reinforce it. This stuff goes a long way. Like, there's not a lot in the packet and you think, oh my gosh, that's not going to do anything. But it does. And I've used this a lot in the past to mend my boys' school pants when they got holes in the knees. So I would put this on the underside and go over it. And yet you could tell from the outside that maybe something had been done. It wasn't invisible, but it was better than a gaping hole and better than me buying school pants every month because they went through them. Which is what happened. So once I fixed this actually and did that on the pants, they actually seemed to last better too. And I didn't put as many holes in the pants. So thankfully my boys have grown past that stage and I don't need to do that anymore. But there was a time when that was happening quite a lot. I know there's a lot of people out there that say, oh, I wouldn't bother, I'd just go buy a new pair. But I mean, well, if you can afford that, then that's probably fine. But as a single mum, I've had to watch every single dollar. And yeah, there was a time in my life when I had $20 for groceries for a fortnight for a very long time. And so the option to just buy new pants wasn't there. I didn't have money for food, let alone by the time, you know, I paid, at the time it was a mortgage because I still had the house. By the time I paid for that, I didn't have anything left over. So sometimes it's not an option for everyone. And I think these skills are good to have. And I learnt this off a video, I think a long time ago. I didn't have anyone in my family to show me how to do this stuff. I mean, my nan probably could have showed me, but she lived away from me. So yeah, I didn't ask her or get her to show me. Just cut that off. Right, so we're done for this step and I'll show you what I've done. So it looks very untidy, but it's quite good. So yeah, all the holes have been ironed and you can just see it through there. And that one's the big one, but that's okay because we'll go over it with the sewing machine. And like I said, no one's going to see this. This is just for bed. And even if it wasn't, I don't know that they would have really noticed it anyway if he wears it outside. And if they did, they wouldn't really know what they were looking at. So I don't think it matters too much. Anyway, we'll get on to the next step. Sorry about the clothes in the background hanging on my errors, but welcome to my sewing machine. Now this sewing machine I think cost me like $90 a very long time ago, like 20 years ago. I bought it at Spotlight. It was the cheapest one I could buy at the time. So it's not the best ever sewing machine by any means, but it has got me through all of these years. Unfortunately, the bobbin winder isn't working and I was doing it by hand, but I went and bought myself one of these, which was almost the same price as my sewing machine was all those years ago. And it's a bobbin winder. So I'm going to try it. I have never tried it. I don't know how it works. But hopefully it works so that I can wind these bobbins without having to do it from hand. Oh, why is that falling off? Okay, what is going on here? Okay, I'm not sure how well this is going to come across because I don't have anyone to hold my video and I don't have a tripod to set it up so that you can see really well. So I apologize if you can't see it very well. You just want to normally set up your sewing machine. So I've got it all set up. Unfortunately, the bobbin winder ran me out of red and it used all the red in the bobbin. So I've got a hot pink instead, and I've set it to the normal stitch length that I normally have, so a normal stitch. And all we're going to do is see if I can do this one-handed for now, is just go back and forth over the hole, and that's all you have to do. Okay, my battery is really low too on my phone, so that doesn't help. And then, yeah, we just kind of go back and forth over the hole. Moving the needle as much as we can over the fabric. Probably should go slower than what I am. And I'll just show you, this is a little one that I've done. Poor Logan, it's going to be hot pink. Hang on, I'll see if I can do it. I'll pick you up, hang on. Yeah, so that looks red under this light, but it's actually hot pink. And that's all we do, is just go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth over the hole until you've got it all covered. And I'm done. So that took a little bit. I had to change direction on this one because my machine, by the time I got up to here, it was starting to smell a bit hot. So instead of going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth in the same direction, I just decided to turn it around and do some longer ones because that was the big L-shaped one rip. So just to give my machine a little bit of a break. I don't usually do that much, that fast, back and forth all over the place on my machine. So just something to be mindful of. So this is all done. So it was quite a bit of stitching there back and forth. So, but all finished. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fold it over properly because the buttons are actually stitched through the placket, which is this flap at the back and the front piece of fabric. So I just want to iron it because with the, sorry, knocking my phone, with the iron on, it's got quite stiff. So I just want to iron it correctly so that it sits flat, so that when I sew on the buttons, it'll be all sitting nicely. And again, we are done. So probably not most perfect over here, but anyway, it should be fine. So now I've just got 4 buttons. I need to find another one to hopefully match, and then I'll be hand sewing the buttons on. Now I'm probably going to need a thimble because it's going to be quite hard to push the needle through 2 layers of iron-on mender, 2 layers of fabric and the actual thread sewn through. But this will be really reinforced now, so hopefully that should not ever happen again with this set of pajamas. So hopefully, no matter how much thrashing around my son does in bed of a night, it should not rip again, hopefully. But I don't think it will. It's pretty reinforced now. So yeah, it's a good tip too, whenever you're sewing anything, always iron everything, all the seams, all of that, each piece of sewing. It always makes it sit and look a lot more professional. And it's just, yeah, gives you a neater finish. So always iron. And would you look at that? I actually have a button that is exactly the right size. So it only has 2 holes, not 4 like the other one. So it's not quite as sturdy, but it's the same size. So it should fit in quite nicely. So I'm very happy about that.
Yep.
Got it?
Yep.
Okay, so it's been a few hours. I did it wrong, but oh my gosh, it's just gone off. Can you believe that? Okay, so I'm just taking the temperature to show you that this is in Fahrenheit, and it's meant to be between 180 and I think 190 degrees. And so this is currently at 181, so it's the temperature. I think I'll have to put the measurements down below. I think Australian degrees Celsius is like at 80 to 95 or something, or 83 degrees. So that's a temp. So all I'm going to do now is just turn it off, and we do nothing with it, and we let it sit there for 2 hours. I do want to tell you that I said it's on low before, but no, it should be on high, not on low. So it's on high for 3 hours, then we just turn it off and let it sit there for another 2. And I'll be back later once that's done. And we are all done with the buttons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Logan will be happy. So, oh. Yeah, that's all sewed on. And through there, it wasn't an easy feat, but it's done. And they should be fairly solid now, which is good.
It's gone.
Okay, so I'm back finally. I'm exhausted. It's like 10:30 at night. Today I actually used a thermometer to check it rather than just going on the time, because the original time that I was going off was 3 hours in the slow cooker, then 2 hours resting before putting in the culture. But it's never really worked out as Logan said. It's always been pretty runny.
Yeah.
So I didn't always have this thermometer, but I went and purchased this last year, and so I haven't made it since. So I've just been using the thermometer, and it's probably taken like 5 hours to come back down to temperature. So it's finally at the temperature to put the culture in. So let's get to that. So I'm just going to try and take the skin off with the whisk and see if I can do that. Oops.
Looks so gross.
It does. Okay, I'm just gonna far out. I wanted to take it over to the bin. And I didn't want it dripping. Anyway. What I got, and I really like is Jalna pot set yogurts, because they only have culture and milk and nothing else, so they are really good. Now I've done 6 litres, so usually they say about 1/4 of a cup for the 2 litres, I think, but there is no way that that is going to be enough. So luckily I've got a big one still left from the fridge, so we're going to use some of that too. I'm going to probably at least triple the yogurt. And the reason why I'm putting it in the bowl is to temper it so it doesn't kill off the bacteria if we put it straight into the yogurt.
I totally haven't gone through a lot of that yogurt. I don't know what you're talking about.
I know, that's why we desperately need to make all this. Okay, I'm going to go with that much. That looks about triple what the little container was, doesn't it?
Yeah, if not more. But
that's okay. I don't think it matters to have a little bit more.
No, because it's yogurt. You're making yogurt out of yogurt, so
exactly.
I don't think it matters that much.
So you probably want a little bit more than
exact, you know,
than too little.
Yeah.
So I put the spoon in that. That wasn't very smart. So we'll give this a stir in a second.
This is about how solid it used to be half the time. Maybe a bit more, but
it wasn't that bad.
No. It was a bit thicker, but
It was thick, especially on the top. That's what made me think to check the temperature, because it got thick on the top, which would have been the coolest spot.
Yeah.
And then underneath that, though, it wasn't.
No.
So that's what made me think about checking the temperature.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to overrun it. I just want to do a little bit more.
So, this is a genuine question. Like, why are you putting that yogurt into... Oh, yeah. Why are you putting that yogurt into there?
This milk?
Yeah, that's what I meant.
So it's to bring this up to temperature.
Oh, that makes sense. It's
called tempering, and it just helps bring it up to temperature. If I stick it from cold in the fridge into hot, it might kill off the bacteria.
Okay.
And we want that. So this way, it kind of helps the bacteria get used to it. They get warm.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's so full. Who would have overfilled it? I don't know who would have done that.
You're like, oh, can you put one thing in the filtered water, and then I'll put in one more, and then you put like 2 or 3 more things of water in.
That's all good.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just giving that a stir through.
That is a lot of yogurt. That should last a while.
It'll probably only last a week, Logan, the amount of yogurt we're going through at the moment.
What? No.
Yeah.
Well, it takes me like 4 days to get through the big ones.
I might have to take a little bit of this out, actually, because the lid's not going to shut.
No, you should just let it leak all over the counter. Great idea.
Okay, so we'll give that a stir through.
Quite smoky.
Oops, I might just try and take some of it out.
Still hear him meowing from in here. Well, he's there, but... Alright, that should be surely enough out, you reckon?
Yeah. Alright, so now... we'll just put the lid on. And I'm going to go and get a towel, and we're going to wrap it up in a towel, and we're going to leave it there for like 18 hours. So then we just wrap it up, and I just literally will leave it like this and try and close up any gaps there so that it stays insulated, and we'll keep, hopefully, the milk and cultures at the correct temperature that it needs.
There's a small gap there.
Yeah, I might actually get another towel just to stick over the top of that.
Okay.
Hang on a sec. Okay, so then, yeah, we'll just put this over the top this way.
Double seal it?
Yeah, and just make sure that it's all sealed up. Keep in as much as we can and insulate it.
Snug as a bug.
Yep. And that's it. Leave it for 18 hours. Okay, so we're just going to check the yogurt. It's been 12 hours. I was wrong. And it wasn't 18 hours. I don't know why I said 18 hours. So we'll take this off and we'll just check.
Looking good.
How this is going. Yeah, it looks good. Oh, look at that.
Oh, yeah, that's your actual yogurty.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yup.
All right, so I'm going to be lazy right now because I'm going to make some breakfast. But what I'll do is I'll take this out and I'll just stick it straight into the fridge in the slow cooker pot, and I'll put it into little jars and containers. Hey, so Logs and I are off for a quick walk around Cataract Gorge in Launceston, which we are being local tourists for the afternoon. So I thought we'd bring you along. We're getting out of the house and going for a walk. So Logs and I, we'll show you some of our beautiful Cataract Gorge on the way. So this is at the very start of the walk near the road. So we're just walking in through Cataract Gorge, and already stunning scenery.
Scenic.
Scenery
Oh, scenery.
at the heart of Launceston pretty much, so we are very spoilt here. Just looking back from the start of the walk, and you've got the beautiful historic King's Bridge going across into Launceston City from the West Tamar. I'll see if I can zoom in a little bit for you. There we go. Another gorgeous spot, and there's some foam floating down the creek from the mini rapids up above. Just stunning. Just beautiful. In full flood, the water rages through here. And we've had a lot of rain, but we haven't had hardly any rain at all, so it's very subdued right now.
We've had a
The sound of the water. Little chairlifts going across over the gorge in front of the suspension bridge.
looks like it.
Trees are just sort of covering the way we just walked up, but anyway. Oh gosh, she's right next to you, Lokes. And baby native hens. Oh, I've never seen the baby native hens. Or turbo chooks, as we call them.
Peacock.
Yeah. There's lots of peacocks here.
Yeah, but
All imported, of course. Oh, what are the baby ones? I've never seen baby ones this close before, ever.
I've never seen a baby one in general.
Was there only 3 or was there 4? Was there only 3?
Any what?
I said, was there only 3 of them, baby ones?
I think so. It's like a good cover.
Yeah, I could.
You don't have to, but...
Just take a quick video.
Oh, you're recording.